Testing. We are live, and what a week it's been. Another down week, another week of volatility. Could have been way, way worse. Could have been a lot worse. We had jobs numbers this week that were unlike anything we've ever seen. The way I described it to somebody is this: it's one thing to have economic statistics and stock market volatility to touch to reach the boundaries of what's possible or what's in the past. But we're just having completely new boundaries. I mean, yesterday, 6.4 million first-time unemployment claims, 10 million in the last week, a huge job loss number this morning. We expected the job losses, and I think it would have been justifiable had the stock market actually gone down a lot more than it did. It was down 360 points, 1.69%, about a 1.5% in the S&P 500. These aren't dramatic numbers compared to what we've been seeing. 360 point down day on the news that we got this week. We knew that the job losses would be horrendous. We've been warned to expect coronavirus losses as well. I can't help but feel a little melancholy coming out of the week. It's also for me, it's my second week in quarantine. New York State 2 weeks ago today said non-essential businesses go home. I think I could have pushed it maybe and say, I'm an essential business. If you're in money management, you could say you're an essential business. I manage money, client accounts. It's what I do. In addition to the planning, the financial planning, retirement, et cetera. The point is, I felt it was important not to try to justify being in my office because I don't want to catch the virus. I don't want to spread the virus. I don't want to bring it home to my family. And I think it's really important that my 3 children see me home. They need to see dad home in this crazy mixed up world. I think that's the most important thing. And for my wife too. My wife, it's a big burden just to have everybody at home and to just come home from work after being out a whole day. I don't know. I think it was important for me to be home. I'm sure you feel the same way. So I would really like to hear about your experiences because no matter where you are in the country, even if you're in a state that only started to quarantine this week or last week, odds are that you work for a business that told you to work remotely. So how's that going for you? Are you okay with it? I have to say, for me, working remotely, there's a few things. I used to have a home office a couple of years ago, about 5, 6, 7 years ago. I had a home office and I loved it. It was actually a really good thing. I don't have the home office now, but it gave me the experience on how to look at having a home office. I'm comfortable having a home office because it's an experience I've had. So when we got the order to go home, all non-essentials go home. I didn't just say, I'll go home. I'll work on my laptop for a week. I figured it was going to be a month or more. No brainer to figure that out. I'm not asking for credit for thinking that. But what I did do is I took my entire workstation home, hard drives, the computer tower, the monitors. I took my lighting equipment for the videos. You see, I took the mic home, the headset. I took it all home, basically to say I'm going to be home for a good while. So far, it's been a good experience for me. The family has been really good about it. I had my wife as a guest appearance on my live show yesterday, and that was great. But what really hit me over the head today, it wasn't the job losses, and it wasn't the economy and the stock market. The stock market hit a near-term bottom almost 2 weeks ago, the Monday of last week. So this coming Monday will be 2 weeks. The longer we could stick with that, the more likely it becomes a bottom. It's hard to imagine we don't go lower in the stock market, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to do what we do anyway. So this is the week that friends of mine are afflicted with coronavirus. Like I actually have friends, people I know in my life who now have it. And some of my friends have friends and relatives that, have passed away from it. And it's really because of that. For a lot of you, it may have already hit home, and it's hit home for all of us. Look at the way we're living, but it's really just it's just another shake when you start to see that, when you have to start, saying, I'm so sorry for your loss. So I'm feeling a little melancholy. I hope you could lift me up, and I want to lift you up as well. So I wrote my weekly email about this, about lifting each other up, and I'll share it with you in a moment. So let's roll the intro, and then we're going to have a good show. We're going to talk about the market. We're going to talk about personal finance, and we're going to talk about getting through this. This is the Market Wrap. Be the boss of your money. All right, good to have you back. A few people out there. Hey, Bill, great to see you again, my friend. So cool that you were watching the show. Joanne, always great to see you. You're used to working from home a lot of the time. Good for you. Hey, John, good to see you. Stay safe to you as well. Hope you are enjoying yourself. Jesse, hi, Jesse. I love you too. Okay, Jesse, you know, my daughter. Okay, and let's see if anybody is out there. If you have any questions, by the way, hit me up. Don't be shy. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what we're talking about. A couple of things that we are doing to get through this. I got a spam in the comments just now on LinkedIn. This team will analyze my website. It's hard to believe that people just spam you right in the comments when you're doing a live broadcast. So just a quick thing about LinkedIn. I'm a big LinkedIn. Actually, I'm a LinkedIn power user. For all the people out there who send me a connection request, I love that. But if your connection request is immediately followed up by an automated message to ask me about my business and tell me about how your services are going to increase my revenues by 50%, and you want to set up a time right now so we could talk about your services, I generally speaking, I will just disconnect from you, and that's the end of it. You're wasting your time with me. It's not how I roll. Okay, just to put that out there. So Dow down 360, what could have been a horrendous day, what could have been a horrendous week, because we are firmly into the negative economy, the recession that we expected to get into with the coronavirus. The whole economy is basically shut down, restaurants, etc. An interesting phone call with a friend of mine before. We're talking about the stimulus. Okay, for businesses, there's the PPP, Payroll Protection Program, and the EIDL. Forget for a second what EIDL stands for, but they're both ways that a business owner, small business, can apply either directly through banks or directly to the Small Business Administration and basically get money pretty quickly. And if you use the money for payroll, the loans that you get, the money that you get will become a grant. It's you don't have to pay it back. So the internet is abuzz with people trying to apply for these grants for this payroll money. It's part of the government's way of trying to keep people from having to go to unemployment and trying to keep small businesses from firing all their employees, which pretty much, as you can see by the numbers, it's already happened. But we'll hopefully get some people back in business and hire people, and we'll see if we get another stimulus. I myself will be sending in an application to one of these programs tonight. From what I understand, Bank of America, maybe a few other banks are up and running with this, but most banks, including Chase, are not. So we'll have to see how that goes. We are on a late edition of Be the Boss of Your Money. Today, we had an eclectic group of winners: Carrier Global Corp. Some names you may have heard of: Under Armour, $7 a share. Okay, incredible. Otis Worldwide, that's a new spinoff from United Technologies, OTIS, which just came off the list a second ago. I don't know if you know this, but United Technologies and Raytheon merged to now be called Raytheon Technologies, and United Technologies, which own Carrier air conditioning products, and Otis Elevators have been spun off into separate publicly traded companies. And some of the losers out there, you've got some of the casinos, Ralph Lauren Corp., some financial stocks, Symphony Financial, Huntington Bank shares, Wynn Resorts Casino. So it looks like casinos and financial services mostly led to the downside. What is going on this weekend? What should we expect for next week? I think we're going to expect more of this week, but even more intense. So what I've been saying lately is the good news is things will get better after things get much worse. The bad news is things will get better after things get much worse. So that's where we stand today. So this is the first week where we are the first time we saw the monthly non-farm payrolls, and that was just for March. We'll have to see if it gets worse, but I would expect that coming into April, it'll be pretty bad as well, if not worse. So we've got to brace ourselves. Next week we start two big things. We have the earnings season that starts, and you're going to hear companies withdrawing forecasts, lack of visibility, and that's never a good thing. The investors don't like that. What investors will flock to, though, are companies with very strong balance sheets, um, and companies that continue to focus on screens and staples. Screens, so companies that have something on a screen to keep you busy, and staples. I don't mean staples like the store, or staples like in a thing that you staple paper together. Consumer staples, toilet paper, toothpaste, food. Those will continue to do well also. The betting in my area is that our school district on Long Island ends at the end of June. I think most of the country, ends early June. But the betting is kids aren't going back to school for the rest of the year, at least in my little neck of the woods. I wonder how it is by you. If you know something, or if you think your kids will be out of school for the rest of the year, let me know in the comments. If you have a question about investing, let me know. I'll be talking next week on the 8th, which also, by the way, the 8th, the evening of the 8th starts the first night of Passover. So I'm not going to be doing a live session that night. So just to let you know in advance, I know you're just going to have to live without me a whole night. I know it's a tough life. I know, and I take you away from all of your problems with the whole thing in the market and the economy and the job. So I'll be back the next night. Okay, the second night of Passover, I'll make room for a LinkedIn Live and Facebook, a live stream that night. So the things that we have to look forward to are I don't want to say look forward to. So we've got earnings season. That's one, and we have Passover. Passover, I don't think is really going to affect the market too much, though. And then we get into the crest, though. That's what I'm not looking forward to. And we're just like, it's hard to imagine, but we have to see what things are going to be like in New York State. And the way I see it, New York, and I had a conversation with a couple of friends this morning. I'll be speaking via Zoom to the Financial Planning Association of Long Island about the economy, about investing, and what we need to be doing now, and what financial advisors need to be doing, and speaking with their clients, etc. Thank you very much, FPA of Long Island, for asking me to speak. That means a lot to me to always to address my peers. It's kind of a big deal. I'm a little nervous about it because, I wonder how much, it's not like it's a subject that they're not familiar with, right? But their focus really is more on the planning side. So I'm going to take the other side, the investing side. And Elisa, our chapter president, made a point that she read an article that I totally agree with, that if you see the cases in New York City start to go down, that could light a fire under the economy's tail, under the stock market's tail. And I agree with that 100%. If you could see evidence, hard numbers, that a crowded metropolitan area like New York City can start to bend the curve and flatten the curve and get past new coronavirus cases and hospitalizations, that would be huge, because then investors and all market participants, economic participants, that's all of us, will have the confidence to say that we can get through this. I wished a couple of weeks ago, I wish that, the whole economy was shut down for 2 weeks so we could get past this, but it's done piecemeal, different by state, by region, by region. And now we've got this mess we're in of this state does it, that state doesn't. We'll try this, we'll try that. It just drags it out. It just drags out the pain. I like to pull the Band-Aid off in one shot. Okay, so we talked about that. Let me just take a quick look at something here on my LinkedIn. I don't want to miss anything. Okay, don't want to miss a thing. I wonder if we're even getting this done on LinkedIn. Let's see. I think we are. I think we are. I think we are. Yes. A few people out there. Okay, so that's what we're going to expect for next week. Let's talk about what we're doing to get through this. I want to share with you a strategy for being productive at home. Is that okay? Are you guys still out there? Did I put you to sleep yet? I want to share a strategy because I going back and forth with my friends on LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm in a wonderful networking group, and we have 3 times a week we have these Zoom meetings, Zoom meetings, and people talking about productivity. These are all business owners, business development, really good people to speak with. Hey, Joanne, my portfolio was at year and high end of 2019, lost a lot of value, down 27%. Yeah, I could see that. It's probably a portfolio that's a little heavy on the stock side because the S&P isn't down 27%, so you may just be a little heavy on the stock side. Maybe you have some energy stocks that took a beating. We'd have to take a look at that to see exactly why. You're hanging in there. You're very concerned. So I'm going to address that. Okay. So I'm going to give you my productivity hack, and then we're going to address the market. And I'm glad you asked, Joanne, because now you're giving me something to really focus on. And I didn't have enough time. I didn't have enough time to really put something together this afternoon. I usually stop what I'm doing at about 3:30, 3:45, and I start putting my show ideas together. And just this whole day was a crazy blur. I don't know if you know this, but my mother has been in the hospital for the last 2 weeks, and it's just been really tough because she's in Florida. I'm up here. It's a bit of a helpless feeling. Very fortunate that my brother is down there. He's a doctor, so he's handled a lot of things. But she just moved to a rehab about two days ago, and it could have been coronavirus. She was tested, but my brother tells me that a lot of tests come back false negative. And what's happening is people who are getting coronavirus, I think older people, is that they have like a sudden onset symptoms, kind of like dementia. And that's what happened to my mother. And it just scared the hell out of us. She had a fever for like 3 weeks, hadn't eaten for a few weeks. She's someone who loves to eat. But I spoke to her yesterday. She sounded really good. This morning, she sounded great. So fingers crossed, mom is on the mend. So that took up a lot of time every morning this week with the doctors. And, we've all been through this. So keep my mother in your prayers, please. That would mean a lot to me. Okay. So my productivity hack is this. Friend of mine, and this is very common, people are having trouble focusing. They're working from home, but it's not just working from home. It's not like it's a snow day or a couple of snow days. You can get a lot done. It's being shell shocked with this news of the whole world closing down. That's really the issue. It's not just one region. It's the whole entire country. It's not just like, I remember 9/11, how, Long Island was basically closed for a week, and it was really slow getting back up and running, and how somber it was. It's like this all over the country. So just to absorb that, it's really, really tough. But we're all doing it. We're all working remotely, and I'm amazed to see how productive everybody is. So the productivity hack is, someone said in my networking group that I'm having trouble focusing and getting things done, and I'm usually so organized and such a hard charging person, and I'm not able to focus on my to-do list, and I'm not even sure what I need to put on my to-do list. And so what I said is this: make a did list, DID, the things that you did. Just start doing things. Do 3 things. Write them down, not on your to-do list, but to did list, and keep writing everything you down. And nothing's too insignificant. Returned a call, made a call, just updated this, updated that, fix this, emailed that. Keep doing that, because what happens is at the end of the day, you've got a list like that. I'm trying to get my hand like that. You got this huge list, and you see how much you've done and how productive you were and how much you can do. And not only is it going to make you feel proud and great, but it'll give you the momentum that you crave, that you need to keep going. Try it out. That's what I've done in volatile, crazy times, and nothing's been like this. So I make my did list. I started doing that a few weeks ago when I first started working from home, and for me it works. It works wonders. It really, for me, it was great. So try it, a did list instead of a to-do list. And once you start getting that list going, you are just going to really, you'll be like a different person. Tell me how it works for you sometime. I'd love to hear that. Joanne, back to you. So hanging in there, very concerned. All right. I know you. You're young. You've got plenty of time to get through this. You know, you've got a pretty long time horizon. And even if you're thinking of retiring in the next 10 years or so, for example, 20 years, 5 years, your money still has to last you for a life expectancy that goes on quite a ways after retirement. So the advice to most people, the best advice that most people could actually follow, first and foremost, most people could probably just do nothing, just sit tight and wait. If you have something that you really are not sure of, well, look into it. A lot of people bought investments because they were going up. We've had a good market. People were buying investments because they were going up. But now that the market goes down, you're not so sure if those are really good investments anymore. You'll have to make your own determination or work with a financial advisor to help you. And if you have one, then take up the offer and work with your financial advisor. And, figure out, well, what's good, what could go, what can be replaced. And what I like to say is upgrade and the downgrade. Don't look at an investment that was worth, let's say, $20,000 and now it's worth $5,000 and say, I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to lose $15,000. Look at it and say, that's $5,000. Where would my $5,000 be best? Because you want to, this whole thing will recover. I can't promise every single stock will recover. I'm very wary of stocks that have gone under $10 a share, especially under $5. That is usually, to me, a really bad sign of worse things to come. So I don't want to get into any situation like that. Okay. I want to make sure I buy great companies with great balance sheets, companies that are needed no matter what. It's why Zoom has been such a big winner. And I'm not saying go out and buy Zoom. It's got a sky high valuation. And maybe after this virus crisis passes, Zoom might not be such a desirable stock to own anymore. Time will tell. But, it's a company that has figured out how to be a part of your daily life. Just like we're using, Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube. And those, but so think in terms of like that. So screen stocks, like I said before, and consumer staples. So screens and staples. So there you go. I wish I could give you more information, but you just have to hang in there. If you're participating in a 401k and you still have employment income, keep doing it, because what you're buying now, you'll be glad you did 2-3 years out, maybe even sooner. That's my opinion. Stick with it. So who else is out there? And thank you, Joanne. Thoughts and prayers for Mom. Thank you, Fred. You are such a good guy. You're right. First weeks, despite having so much time, I was getting very little done. Now setting into this new reality and getting more productive. I know what you mean. It's you're getting more productive, and it's a good feeling. Plus, you need to be productive because you need to be busy. Because if you just sit and watch the TV and the news, and it'll drive you crazy. It's terribly negative. And we owe it to ourselves to not be in a funk. Does that make sense to you? It makes sense to me. Okay. Let me just check real quick on my LinkedIn, because there's a lot of people out here in LinkedIn land. Okay. Come on, let's work a little faster. So we've got a few. Hey, Michelle, great to see you. Thank you so much. Achille Holmes, thank you. Alioski, thank you. Blaze, Scott Anderson, you're always out there. Be well, be blessed, right? I love that, by the way. You always say that. For Dobbs, James, what's doing, my man? David, great to see you yesterday. I really appreciate you coming back today. Hey, Nino. So, Nino, you're an attorney, and you're looking into all this stuff. You service the quintessential small business, restaurants and gyms and MMA centers and all that. I wonder how your experience is dealing with your clients and helping to guide these business owners through this crazy stuff. So I appreciate you all being out there. And that is just awesome. So that's really about it. That's all I have today. We're on for about 25 minutes, which is about as long as I like to keep these things going. I don't want to miss anything else. Let me just see if I missed any thumbs up reactions on Facebook, and then let you go. Discard. Get over here. Who's out there? All right. Who is there? You know, I wonder. Okay, there it is. I see it. Okay. We got a few people out there. We got a bunch of reactions out there. I'm having trouble seeing them at the moment. So I'll thank you all in the comments later. If you think of anything that you want me to address, to talk about, I can talk about the stock market and investing all day long, every day, but there's only so much that you want to hear, and it does get really repetitive after a while, and I don't think it's going to be so valuable to you. I think personal finance is really important. I think business is really important. And I think keeping our heads on straight is really important. So let's keep our heads on straight. We're going to get through the weekend. Let's get recharged. Let's get strong for next week, and let's hold on to each other. Okay, I'm giving everybody a big virtual hug, and I'll see you Monday at 4:30. Thank you so much.